I mean, here's the deal. We can't go back in time.
Nope.
You know, if you got to be a part of the Xennial or the Xennials, any one of those.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, even like before that, right? If you got to live life without the internet, like just acknowledge how special that was. And I would say connect to the things that you loved about that and then see what you can do to support your children to recreate some of that for them.
Here's the deal. We're two moms that we popped babies out in our 40s. And it's hard. It was hard.
It's also the best thing that's ever happened to either one of us, I think.
Yeah, but now we're moms in our 40s.
In our 40s.
With preschoolers.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Let's bring the community together of women and let's talk about like real shit, real life, real women shit.
Yeah, real women shit. Let's do that.
Shit's hard. And also it's funny.
Cheers. Unfiltered.
Because if you want a show, we're a shit show. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Coming straight to you from the barn today. Howdy, howdy, ho, howdy, 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 ho.
I think we might want to speak in a little bit of a twang this whole time since we're in the barn.
Well, good morning, cowgirl.
Good morning, Cal. Good morning, Meg girl.
Good morning.
Good morning, sunshine. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Nope. Wu-Tang is for the children.
It's for our chitlins. So it's I think like 16 degrees out right now.
I don't even think, on my way here, my car said it was 7. Mm-hmm. 7 degrees.
Don't worry. Is there heat in the barn?
No.
No, there's not. So if our nose starts dripping, I hope you're watching on anything but Spotify where you can see us. Yep. So then you don't see us because you can't watch. You're listening. You're watching with your ears.
You're watching with your ears.
Watch with your ears, not with your eyes.
And then your ears might not see the nose drip.
The nose drip. Nose drip. Good job blowing ears first, Megs.
Well, you know,
You're
still got
talented.
that January going on.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, man. Good morning, sunshines.
Good morning. Welcome. Mature-ish mamas. Here we are.
Here we are doing it. We get to talk about how there's such a cool benefit to being a mature-ish mom.
That's true.
Especially in our day and age. In our good old day and age.
Yep. In our generation.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about my generation.
Judds? Nope.
Yep, that's the Judds. You're right. I think
the Judds is Reba and someone else.
Yeah, Reba Judd and Mick Judd.
See? I still have classy information. Hold on.
Yeah. Nice. Go gadget arm.
We have some notes today because we have cool stuff to talk about.
I know. I'm really excited, actually.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I even wore my Stussy shirt for everybody.
Oh, I thought about
Bringing
this.
it back.
Yeah, I was like, we're talking about generations, literally, not just like Judd and the Judds. Get it together, you guys. I was like, we should like totally 90s it out.
I know, and I even have a bucket hat that I was gonna, and I
think it would have been rough with the headset. Maybe not.
I don't know.
You got the Stussy on, so you got that going on. This is like back in now. Stussy
I know.
and it's expensive.
It is. It's ridiculous because it used to just be regular prices,
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting it. I mean, this was like one of my go-tos. You know,
Yeah.
I was kind of like. Thought that I was like a cool skater person, but I didn't skate. I roller skated, but I didn't.
I still kind of think that.
I mean, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right. Let's be honest.
We could have at least worn our like beanies.
I know.
It's all right, you guys. We still look good. My big kids came to me a couple years ago and they're like, "Mom, have you ever heard of Stussy?" Is that how you pronounce it, right?
That's how I pronounce it, but
might
I
be
heard people like the younger people they're saying Stussy. But I was like,
idiots.
I'm like, don't you see those two little?
Yeah.
I think that means it's a ooh.
I think that's definitely like German phonetics.
It's Stussy.
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 Okay, so like I wanted to like look at what all the different generations were.
Yeah, I love that.
Because I thought that would just be like a fun little education as we go into talking about being old moms, Jerry moms.
Jerry moms.
We got to be born in the late 70s and early 80s. Yeah. So we're extra special, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Extra special.
We are extra something.
Yep.
Nice way to bridge that. They might not even know what you're talking about, but if they do, they do. And
extra special.
Yep. But I didn't actually know all of the gens, so I just want to like look them up for my own sake.
Cool. I'm excited to hear because I don't know if I know all that. Yeah.
Okay, education. You guys, if you know them before us, throw it in the comments before we get it, and then we'll just be like, wow, congratulations, and then we'll probably actually think you looked it up and put it on there.
I would think that.
Yeah, that's
because that's what I would do.
That's what I would do. And I'd be like, look how quick I am. Okay.
Because that's what you did.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. I show up just winging it from the seat of my pants. I'm like, good morning, I'm here.
Let's go. Record. Well, and I think it was just me like being intrigued. Like,
I love that.
And there's nothing before 1900, so it doesn't. It didn't count if you were born before
You weren't
the
a
1900s.
generation.
Nope.
You were of the 1800s.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So.
And maybe or it wasn't in my search, but whatever. Either way, you don't. I mean, sorry about that. You do count. We love you. If you're still alive and you're 125, that's wild.
That's amazing.
Wild.
Tell us your secrets.
Yes.
What's your skincare routine?
Let's do a full skincare routine one. You'd be so good at that.
I do have a lot of stuff to talk about.
To share. Okay, so 1901 to 1927, the greatest generation.
Is that really what it's called?
That's really what they're called. It kicks it off like there's nowhere to go but down from here.
Right? Yeah. Why not just tip top it at the top with the greatest?
Yep. And then everybody else, you're going to kind of suck.
Yeah. And then we'll just start making upwards.
Yeah. Which is exactly what they did. Greatest generation.
Okay.
Most of them went through the Great Depression. They went on to serve in World War II. This is like jazz prohibition. And then like how sad. So you're born and you're part of the greatest generation. And then right after that, you're part of the silent generation. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a bummer that the greatest generation had to go through the Great Depression. Like,
Yeah. They could just call them the Great Generation, but that's still, I guess that's probably why.
Okay, so then it went from 1928
to 1945, the silent generation.
That's my grandma. She was born in 1928. Grandma Lee.
Oh,
Leora.
She was almost part of the greatest generation, and
Yeah.
then she got snabbled into the silent.
Yeah.
She's quiet, kind of.
Yeah, she's pretty great too.
Yeah,
though,
she is
so,
pretty great.
You know,
she's silently greatly silent.
Yep.
They had to go through some McCarthy era, something, I
Okay.
don't know, fear communism.
Ooh.
It talks about how like they parented. So their kids were expected to earn their way through life through strong work ethic, which makes sense, right?
100%,
Because
yeah.
they're living in this very difficult time.
and yeah, exactly. And because those silent generation kids were born after the Great Depression,
Right.
So think about that, like. As a parent, you're like, we don't have enough food. We have to stand in line to get rations and
To get
now
work.
to get work, to get anything.
Fight for work.
Fight. And now we have these children to take care of too. So yeah, you better put your boots on and get to work. You're 5 now.
You exactly. What do you want me to make you breakfast? Get your own eggs.
That's right. Go stand in that line before your job.
Yeah.
Selling newspapers.
Yeah, the
Like,
Newsies. Oh, I loved the Newsies.
I know that was a good movie.
A couple of them were so cute back in that day.
I
know. See, we are old. Now you know. Oh, they think the kids on the Newsies were cute. Yep, we did. Baby boomers. Okay, this is where we start to know what we're talking about.
Those are our parents.
Yep, 46 through 64.
Yep.
I love what they pointed out. It's like we have this like idea about the boomers or whatever, but they're like, guys, really, they were the wild youth. They defied their parents. They were the ones picketing and protesting. They had the summer of love, and they're the ones who let us stay out until the porch lights came on. They
That's
were
right.
kind of like pretty badass.
They
Not
were-
kind of.
No, they were.
Badass
They were
generation.
hippies. They did a lot. They changed a lot in the world.
Yeah.
During that time of their youth.
Yeah.
And then they became parents, and they had to have a commercial for them that came on at 10 p.m. that said, "Do you know where your children are?" And then they had to be like, "Oh,
That's
do I?"
right. Isn't it's so funny to think about now, because you think about the, again, boomers that you know.
Yeah.
And you just rewind, just make them, 40 years younger.
Yeah.
And then just think about all the things they were doing. But that's,
They got long hair, all of them.
Yeah.
Men, women, all
Yeah.
long hair.
Yep. All the facial hair.
All the facial
Talk
hair.
about, like, let me see your midriff.
Yeah.
Like, if you want.
They did have cool clothes too. I mean, gosh, I see pictures of my parents when they were young, like in their 20s, dang, everybody was good looking
Yeah.
and no makeup, long hair, like
Just
these
natural beauty.
natural beauty. And
Yeah.
they're just looking cool,
And
being
it's-
cool.
and
They
it's-
were like the quintessential picturesque of
Cool. Let's rename all these.
Okay.
Okay. They should be called the coolers or the cool
Yeah.
baby.
The baby cools.
Baby cools.
The
Cool baby. Maybe not anything with a baby.
cool boomer.
Cool.
A coomer.
Okay, let's not rename them. No, we're not that good.
Bad idea. Great idea, then bad idea.
You guys can give us some good names. Maybe you're better at puns than us or something like that. Yeah. But I mean, they really are just like this really incredible group of humans.
Yeah.
And still had to like really work for what they, they were like
Yeah.
in the grind, right? They were all going back to the workforce, and yeah, we missed it.
The Vietnam War was
Yep.
around that time
Yep.
too, which is insane. Like that they
They went through some stuff.
what a cool thing to like think about as you like think of each generation, like what their world was like for them. You know?
That is, I haven't spent much time in that.
Me either.
So imagine being, for a lot of you who are watching, you're probably closer to our generation, and you think about your parents and what their lifestyle was, what it was like. Like my mom talks about, she was 17, moved out of the house, figured out how to pay her bills, it was right off the bat. You're working, you're grinding, you're partying, you're having fun.
Yeah. My dad dropped out of high school, traveled with his band when he was 15, I think is when that started.
Wow.
And then
Jukebox Baby, you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, The Act, if you ever want to look it up. And then he hitchhiked everywhere.
Can you imagine?
Everywhere. Anywhere they went. And like across state lines. He was like, tells the story how he hitchhiked from, I think, Colorado to the President's Faces. What is that?
Mount Rushmore,
Mount
South
Rushmore.
Dakota.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just hitchhiking.
Yeah. I mean, it was like that was the RTD of the boomer area.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Public transportation.
I'm going to go take the public transportation.
And their parents, no problem.
Yeah.
See ya.
Come home after 10, but you're now over 15, so come home whenever you want
Come
to
home
again.
in a couple months, I guess. We'll
Yeah,
see ya.
yeah, love ya. Oh my God. And then there's this like swing, right? So from the baby boomers, we moved to Gen X, who's 1965 to 1977.
Okay, yeah.
So like
that makes sense to me. Yeah.
a little shorter like generation there. And they were the helicopter parents. This is where helicopter parenting came in. And they were just like,
So the pendulum just went. Yeah.
swing, baby, swing.
Yeah. They were like, man, I barely knew my parents, so I better.
I better. It probably is. They probably felt like they were, it's like they felt some way about maybe my parents weren't around, or
Well,
they just
yeah.
let me go crazy. So I'm gonna.
I also think that there was a societal shift because that was like the Reagan era when they started doing the war against drugs. Things were like they were really putting into the society all of these stipulations on parenting, actually starting to say like you need to do this with your parent. There was like people were starting to have like more safety regulations, and like helmets were being worn, like all these things were
Seatbelts, maybe,
seatbelts. Yeah,
I did
seatbelts.
not know that.
Yeah. So I think that maybe as you think about maybe not just from like parent to parent,
Right.
but as society to parent, like some things we talk about sometimes how we feel societal pressures.
Yeah.
I think that maybe that generation was starting to get societal pressure on
Well, yeah,
parenting.
that makes. And then you're like, what do I better helicopter parent, or my ass gonna be behind bars.
Yeah.
I'm be in trouble.
Yeah.
You
right?
guys were out there smoking dope and making babies. And
free love.
And I'm over here just like, like big
Yeah.
shift.
Uh-huh.
Big
shift.
It said that they're also called the slacker generation. That's kind of unfortunate.
That seems like an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Helicopter slacker.
Yeah, that's what you guys don't do anything for yourselves, but you sure do parent a lot and hardcore.
Maybe that's because they had all the time. So they were like, I don't really have anything to do. Let me just be on top of my kid all the time.
Because I was a slacking. I don't know. I think too that could be like a little bit of a rebellion to the like work hard, because
Yeah.
we always just do the opposite of what our parents say for most people.
I think
parents
so.
do this, let's do the opposite. Let's
Yeah.
swing every pendulum we can. So they're like working so hard, and they're like, I don't feel like I need to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, I'll just work for my dad's company.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
I'll
It'll
show
be
up
great.
sometimes.
Yeah,
but
sometimes not on Mondays though.
Yeah.
No.
I work 10 to 3, 2-hour lunch.
I got parenting to do.
Yeah.
I need to go yell at my kid for a little bit more.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, which brings us to us. It brings us to us. Do we do all of us first, or do we skip us and come back to us?
I think let's skip us because that's what we're really going to want to talk about.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's skip us.
Yeah.
Skip us. We'll just call it. We'll skip
The
us.
lost. We're lost.
We're lost.
Okay.
So this moves into, which some of you are gonna like, but this is the next one, the millennials. So after us is the millennials, and they're 1981, well, 83 technically compared to what we're talking about, 1983 to 1996.
Cool.
Little
Yep.
millennials.
Yeah. They're very 83 to 96. Okay, so that's a shorter-ish one too.
It is, but it's so
man.
so different. Like 83, so different than if you were born in 96 to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yes and no, because I can relate in some ways because I have a sister born in 96.
Yeah.
And so I can see that shift. But yeah, it is different. 83, because my brother was born in 83. One sister was born in 96. And it's, that's different.
Well, because they had to have the cutoff somewhere, right? But there's the internet, like having that come, the onset of all technology is obviously like the biggest shift for
Huge.
all of this.
Right.
At least not for the baby boomers and all the other things. They had different wars and big things. But for us, the big
Yes.
thing is the shift in technology. And in 96, if you were born in 96, you were 5 when you probably could have had an email address. I mean, even a little bit less.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like there was stuff, but
Yeah, so basically before you started primary school,
You
it was
were-
already going.
It was already there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you're born in 83 and you've got
yeah.
some cool stuff. You almost as cool as us.
Yeah, you still had to do the pre-internet
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's supposed to be kind of like that pre-internet or introduction to internet era. The 96 kind of just throws me off. But millennials, community-oriented, environmentally conscious, they really started talking about living your authentic selves to your kids, which I
Okay.
think is so cool.
Yeah,
Like
that
when
is cool.
you look at like the shift of just development as humans, humaning from like pre-eras in the 1800s, where I don't think there's even like a recognition of what an authentic self would be then, unless you're a witch and then you're like,
Yeah, and then we burn you.
we
at
burn
the
you if
stake.
you try to be yourself, burn you.
Yeah.
But all the way up through that, like you really had to put on different faces, different shows, show up certain ways. I don't know, it just
Or even
intriguing.
maybe they just didn't even have the space to even think about that because
Yeah.
they were just surviving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the world was such a different place during that time. It was like you got up, you got dressed, you ate breakfast, you went to work outside on your farm because you needed food. You know, it's like that's just who you are.
Yeah, that's how you.
Because
you don't get to be a poet. I mean, you can be a poet on your break when you're underneath the tree, but you better be freaking farming if you want to eat.
exactly. So yeah.
So millennials, way to bring that into our littles. I love
Yeah,
that.
that is cool.
I know. And then we just finish it off with. Do you know what's next? I actually didn't know any of these. After millennials.
It is Gen Z.
Yeah. Why? How are we already at Z? We went from greatest, and then like there's no. Let's go to Z. Let's.
Well,
What?
I am,
Why?
you know, like it's fun. I love doing stuff like this and I love looking up facts and I'm so happy that you put all this for us together. But it's like, sometimes I'm like, who says all this? Who gets to say that those Gen Xers are slackers? Like that was definitely a boomer.
That was absolutely who was in like influenced by the greatest generation.
Right,
They were
right.
like, you're a slacker.
You're a slacker.
When you only work 40-hour work weeks.
Right?
Ugh.
Yeah. 60 minimum.
Yeah.
60 hours minimum.
And we're from America.
Yeah.
And we're not
Haven't you seen
European.
any movie in the 80s?
Every single one.
Every single
We
one.
have every single
They're-
one.
Yeah, they're just working. I mean,
Yep.
there was movies just about working.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was what it was. Like what a great movie. Working.
Okay, I haven't seen every movie. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. I'll watch it.
No, I don't know. I
I'll
just
watch
made
it. It
that up.
probably is. But Gen Z. So then like we skip every other letter. We move right
Yeah.
to Gen Z, 1997 to 2010. So my bigs are Gen Zers.
Okay.
Now I know that.
Cool.
And they only know technology. So they
right.
have their entire experience, which does make sense, the cutoff 96 to 97, but like, their whole experience is that technology is the way of the world. We don't have to have the Encyclopedia Britannica going door to door, making sales.
Bummer.
Like, I know.
Those
like,
poor people out of jobs.
I know. What's a library? Do we, I mean, like, that's where we go to like hide out from our parents or something? I don't even know.
I guess.
We call the liquor store the library, or they have a lot of different restaurants called the library.
They do, because they needed a new space for it, because there wasn't any more libraries around, and they're like, but this is such a great word.
Let's
Let's just open a restaurant.
Yeah, we'll serve some stuff in here.
We'll just make like books the motif in the background.
And they're cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be drinking
So
a martini next to a bookshelf.
I know.
Acting like
Smell
I'm reading.
of mahogany.
Instantly, that's what she thinks of. But yeah, it's true.
Smells like paper in here.
Ooh, yeah.
Remember that?
I do, yeah, I kind of. Do you remember eating paper? Did you ever eat paper?
Caston still does. He likes it. He's
yeah.
a chewer. He's like,
Yeah, Witten was just like, Mom, I'm eating paper. I'm like, cool, bud. Like, just like chew it all the way up. Like, I don't know. Like, what's it gonna do?
I usually get him to spit it out before he swallows it, but he does like to chew paper.
Yeah, we do. We like to make it clean out the system a little bit.
Oh, yeah, like a little roughage. Nice.
He doesn't get very much fiber, so I think that's probably the next best thing. Paper.
I mean, literally, paper is fiber.
It is.
So
it's very fibrous.
Very.
I'm not sure which. Yeah. He's looking at my baby eating vegetables.
I know. It's basically a salad.
Here you go, buddy. Oh, man. Okay, so the Gen Zers, they're through 2010, and then you have the Gen Alphas, 2010 through 24. So our babies are alphas.
So up until last year.
Yeah.
Those are the alphas, huh?
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I know, and they've only known social media as pretty much what their distinction was that we have. They're also born after the Great Recession. And the Gen Zers weren't really affected by the Great Recession because they were little, or they were by their parents, right? What I think the funniest thing is, though, is that you guys, after Gen Alpha, they've already declared Gen Beta, because now we're going in Alpha, Beta, Cum Sum Laude. I don't know what's next.
Me either. Echo. I mean, what is it?
Delta
Alpha
Fox.
Yeah, Delta Fox.
Yeah. So now they're going in order, but they've already declared Gen Beta is 2025 to 2039. Like,
39.
Nothing of any sort of big moment is going to occur in those 14 years that's going to affect that. We already named them.
I know. See, that's another thing. Like, who gets to decide that? So, I mean, and why couldn't they just say 2025 until question mark
until something
until we decide what comes next?
Yeah, because there might be something different that affects that. But which I think is actually how we got born. Is they already had decided the Gen X went right into the millennials.
Yeah.
And then they were like, wait. There's this funky, spunky, awesome group of punk-y kids.
Yeah.
That's us.
That's us.
1977 to 1983.
Yep.
If you were in that special 6 years, you are, cheers,
Xennial.
Xennials. Xennials, what I like to say.
Xennial.
Eggs.
The X is
See?
the X, but you say it with a Z.
That's confusing.
That makes sense for us, actually.
Yeah, it does. It kind of does. That's an X. Just say it like a Z. It's
but just
fine.
say it like a Z.
Yeah, it's something cool that we do. Like if your mom named you Callie and spelled you Caley, just say it different than it's spelled.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Get to know that.
Yeah, because unless you're in the generation, you might say XL or Xennial, and then we'll know that you're really not.
We know that you're out.
Yeah,
like
you're
me
out.
last week, but that's fine. I'm just working my way back in. So this is what's so cool about, we really just wanted to talk about like what it was like.
Yeah, because it was
Us
great.
growing up.
I mean, I'm sure that every generation feels like it was great for them, which is to their prerogative, of course, feel that way.
Yeah.
But this is our generation, and it is tiny, and it is, I mean, I just feel like we got just the best of all of it, the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
Because we did grow up, we did learn in school, all without internet. So we got to really do a lot of braining.
Yeah.
Using our brains. We got
investigating
in a
different way.
Yeah, detectiving.
Yeah. And actually like having facts.
Yeah.
Like a lot more fact checking goes into a book than it does into I can make a site tomorrow and I can make up all new names for these things.
And if someone sees it one time, they can be like, "Oh, did you hear?"
Yeah, did you know? Did you see the 47,000 reels that were on that wasn't true in the first place?
Right, but then that's how it gets started. So yeah, it was great. We really did. We did have encyclopedia. I did many reports having to look things up in an encyclopedia.
Can you imagine our kids? I'm like, Cassie is sometimes, like, I just imagine the bigs though, like having to grab a book or a fish, microfiche. Do you remember microfiche?
No.
Okay, so I worked at the DU library when I went to college.
I do. Wow. Yeah. That just card cataloged way back in my brain.
Yeah. And I had to, so I was responsible for like helping people find it's like this file, like one of the first, I guess, kind of digital files.
Yeah.
But it was.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I was like, look, we can look that up in a digital file. It's going to be there's 1 million of them all categorized in little things. We've got to enter it for you. Yeah. It was so
really cool. So you were right on the cusp of that digital.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'm 79. So I didn't know John got to be in mine. He's 77. Our Johns are both, all four of us.
Our Millennials.
We are. You're a little bit more Xennial, and I'm a little bit more Xennial.
Yeah.
See,
that's why you're saying it that way.
That's why they made that word, Gen X Millennial. I just got it. I'm not kidding.
Me too. Me too. Because here you're saying it your way, I'm saying it my way, and then we said, there it is. There it is. Came together. Look at us. See all that booking. It sure did teach us. We learned it. We sure were learned and well.
We're so investigative. We didn't know the put together was just two words. I really did think it was Xennial because I was Gen X. Oh my gosh. Did you guys know that?
We're smarties.
Did you? They probably did because they're probably not Xennials.
Yep, I can't wait to hear the comments on that one.
I'm glad that your title of your episode was "What is a Xennial?" I mean, you don't fucking know.
Yeah, we're genuinely asking you because
we thought maybe we would just sit here and stare at you the entire podcast.
Just wait for you to answer.
Yeah. Is there live comments in this? There's not. What should we do then?
Crickets.
I would push the button.
No, but we don't know. That one works just fine.
Just fine. Oh, shit, you guys.
Okay, there we are.
So that's why we're so smart.
Xennials. We booked it. We looked. I mean, maybe
we looked it in the booked it.
We looked it up and we booked in a book, and then we also looked it up on Google because that's how we got to live our life.
Yeah.
But I mean, aside from not knowing all of that, it really was cool to grow up, in my opinion, just being outside.
Being in my brain, what a childhood is meant to look like.
Totally.
Messy,
I mean, like
fresh air, dirt, mud, rain.
No supervision.
Puddles. No.
I mean, it was it was so fun because all the kids were outside. So you had a group. It was like a kid gang. And whoever was in your neighborhood, that's just who you played with.
Yep.
Because it didn't matter if you liked them or not. They're coming.
Yep.
All the big brothers and the little sisters, everybody's rolling together. And you didn't want to go inside. I mean, you could be like parched. It's 90 degrees and it's like, don't go inside because then either you're going to have to do chores, you're going to put to work, or you're going to have to stay inside.
So this is why we drink from the hose.
Drink from the hose.
That's what we do.
You grab the hose.
I still kind of,
I mean,
sometimes.
I do too. I like that metallic.
Me too. Just brings me back.
It does. But you got it when it's hot though. You got to let it run for a sec because otherwise,
that's
burning
when you sanitize
lips.
your hands.
Yeah.
Then you drink.
Yeah. So you drank from the hose. I mean, you went in if you were hungry or if your mom was like lunchtime, and then you ran in, and then you went back out.
And you had reheated macaroni and cheese for the 16th time. You want to barf it up, but you don't care. Just throw a couple bites down, get back out, and get on your bike.
Yeah, you need some energy for that bike riding. Yeah, running the neighborhood. I mean, we had a creek at the bottom of our hill.
Did everybody have a creek? Because we had a creek, and that was
yes. It was. We did this so much.
Rope swings
into the creek.
Yep.
We caught crawdads.
Yeah.
That's what we called them.
Yeah.
Crayfish, whatever.
Crawdad.
Yeah, with hot dogs. Yeah. Mom, can I have a hot dog?
Just actually
Get it yourself.
Can you make hot? Yeah. I'm busy. My soaps are on. I never caught the crawdad with the hot dog, and now I'm kind of wanting to bring my babies down to this creek right back here.
Let's do it. They're in there. We'll catch them with hot dogs. They
Okay.
love hot dogs, just so you know.
Okay, well, and then get some nice and meaty.
Yeah.
To eaty.
Ooh,
People eat them.
I know.
Ooh, I tried it.
I couldn't try it just because I did grow up catching them, and
I won't even eat a hot dog, so
Yeah.
makes it hard.
I mean, I'll eat a hot dog, but
Yeah, she will. Okay.
we would catch those. I mean, I do have a story about those one time, real fun. So my brother and I, my younger brother right below me, Kyle, him and I, and our gang, our feral gang of children in the neighborhood, we caught so many crawdads once. We decided to take a bucket, bring them all home.
Why wouldn't you?
Now they're ours. They're our pets now. So we bring this bucket of crawdads home, and it's probably, I'm just going to say like 20 in this bucket, 20.
Yep.
So my mom, good for her. She was like, yep, come on. We'll put them in the baby pool. We'll fill it up with water in the backyard. Put all of your crawdads in the backyard, and, you can play with them. And then you can take them back to the creek tomorrow. Like you're taking them back.
Oh, she's such a good mom.
Yeah, so we put them all in the baby pool and poured out the bucket, went inside, had dinner, did all the bedtime routine, went to bed. Wake up the next day, they're all gone. They had all climbed out. And we had this deck that my dad had made around the tree, all climbed under the deck and died. It smelled like death in our backyard for like weeks. And we couldn't get them out.
Oh my
because they
gosh.
were under the deck. And so, thanks, Mom. Sorry.
That was so sweet of you.
I know. Gosh, that was fun though. I mean, that's just what we did.
It is. It's what we did. We were trampoline jumpers, so I remember getting my trampoline, and I was a gymnast, so we got it for Christmas. And we're in Colorado. It doesn't matter. That's about to snow a foot. Snow a foot. Have you seen it snow a foot before? Anyways, I don't know about that, but
I think Dr. Seuss talks about snows a foot.
He might. So I told you I was an odd duck, and my sleeping patterns were weird, and I was always scared I was going to be taken or, I don't know, kidnapped. But so I always would look out my window before I'd go to bed, and I look out my window before Christmas night, and I'm like, it's dark out there, but it kind of looks like something's out there. Wake up the next morning, I got a trampoline set up in the backyard. My brother and I jumped on that trampoline every day for the next decade, whether it was 3 degrees or 115.
That's awesome.
Just every single day.
Because that's what you did. You just went outside.
And yeah.
I mean, it's cold. Bundle up.
Yeah, go
outside.
There's 3 feet of snow out there. Just shovel it off. Start jumping.
Gosh, even as a parent now, that is one reason that this place is so awesome for us. Because it is contained enough, and there's not traffic up here and stuff that we can let our kids just run outside.
We have a pretty lucky situation here. So there's 3 acres. So we try to get our kids. We're pushing Xennial lifestyle on our children as hardcore as we can into their mouths.
Get out there.
Don't come home till the lights are off.
Right? Which is 6:30 for
yes.
us. So,
it's perfect.
But yeah. So, but that is what you did. It was no matter what, you put your snow pants on and you just went outside, and it was great. And I think it really helped us just to develop as people, because you had to figure it out. You didn't have anyone saying, stop fighting. It was you just fought and you figured it out with whoever you were with. And that was really character building for us. And
it's like we've taken this swing where we're coddling our little humans so much that they don't know how to manage other humans. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to
manage themselves.
Yeah,
sometimes
and figure out where we're not all meant to be leaders. We're not all meant to be the quiet one.
We all have our own space.
Yeah. And instead we're just trying to make sure they don't experience anything so they don't get hurt. And then they don't know shit about shit.
I know, because unfortunately, of course that we don't want our children to be hurt emotionally or physically, but that's not real life.
Yeah.
They're gonna get hurt, and they're gonna have to go through that without you at some point. So why not set them up for the tools to figure that out as young as possible in a safe space. Like,
Right.
you know, it's not our job. I don't think it's our job as parents to hurt our children or to toughen them up. Like, it's a tough world. Like, you're going to, but go ahead and let them have an argument with one of their friends.
Yeah.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and step back.
Figure it out.
And step back and be like, okay. You know, unless someone's getting hurt physically.
Yeah.
But
Whereas if you're like bleeding or something's broken,
Yeah,
then that's when
bleeding
you-
or- yeah.
then come on in. That reminded me of like the parent figure who's the helicopter parent still, but also they're like, I'm gonna beat your ass because they're trying to like step into their dad. I'm gonna, do you want a spanking? And all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, don't stand on the kitchen counter. Like what you're gonna. You want to? That's I mean, you're gonna hit them, but they can't climb on the fence.
Right.
I don't really know. Like what?
I know. Yeah. It's
interesting.
How confusing for them.
I know. Do you want me to be a rebel and like do cool things or not? I'm very confused.
Yeah.
Will you hand me that?
Absolutely.
Because all this conversation just reminds me of this book. So The Anxious Generation. If you guys have not read The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, it's especially as us Jerry moms.
Yeah.
I think it's such an important concept to dive into. And when I got this book, the way that I do book club often is I just like open up Audible and I like close my eyes and I swipe and I'm like, this is the one we're gonna read because
kind of like a Price is Right kind of thing. Like,
do
that's so cool.
I know, and I have it on like the personal development section, so we don't end up on smut.
You got to tell them about your book club real quick while you're just doing. You might as well.
Yeah, so we just do. I mean, I don't know if I should even call it a book club, but we pick a book every single month and we read it on our own, whether you read or listen. It ends up usually being between 10 minutes or 10 pages per day because that's the average size of most books. And then we just have a group on Facebook where we discuss the different things that go on in there. Or some people don't ever discuss at all, but it's just an excuse to be like, okay, we're doing The Anxious Generation. I have 1 month to read it.
Yeah.
And it encourages us to move forward with that. We don't like do meetings or jump online or anything. It's
you
just easy.
meet when you want online.
Yeah, and talk to your friends about it. Like
Talk to your
bring
friends.
your community into it.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah,
good point. But it's so funny because what Megan's saying, about our childhood and about how we got to get out there and play and be outside. I had no idea that was going to be so much a space of this book. So it's how the great rewiring of childhood is causing an epidemic of mental illness is what the subline is there. And my brain was like, well, of course, social media, right? So I right away, I'm like, I can see body comparison, body dysmorphia, feeling like you're never good enough, people showing their highlight reel, always wanting to do more, then faking who you are to try to keep up with other people, or trying to go beyond your means to try to keep up with other people. I could see a lot of issues.
Yeah, and also, sorry, excuse me. One thing that worries me about that, and just as my own self, is that people are it's so much easier to be mean behind a computer screen.
Oh, for
because
sure.
no one is there looking at your face. They can't even react to you in the moment. They can't punch you in the face if they want to, and so you have this protection to be really brutal to other people, but especially children to child to child.
Yeah.
I just see this happening where they're just so mean and with no consequence, no repercussion, and half the time nobody knows.
Yeah.
The parents don't know it's happening until it's too late. And that scares me about social media and all of that, phones and all of that, the things that we didn't grow up. Because if you said something to somebody and they didn't like it, or you were being really mean to them, first of all, we could be mean.
Yeah.
I mean, we could.
Yeah.
We could say really mean things to each other, but you'd get punched in the face.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean?
It was in person.
It was in person. You had to be brave enough to go up to that person and be like, "Meh, nah, 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 nah," and then they would either be sad about it, and then you had to watch that person react to the way that your words hurt them, or they would be like,
yeah. And then you're learning this way of how do you confront when somebody says something you don't like, or they directly, not everybody's going to like you. You guys, people have shit to say about you. They don't like the way that you brush your hair or the way you wear your Stussy shirt. They don't like something. And we would have to have that direct confrontation. Yeah. This is a side note story because this cracks me up. My brother's 3.5, almost 4 years older. And because after 3.5 goes 4. That's how I knew the 3.5, almost 4.
Almost
You guys
4.
are welcome.
Yeah.
And he would, I think he was in 6th grade, I was in 2nd grade, he'd have his buddies come over and he would have me fight them. And it was like set up. He's like, okay, Cal, you have to learn how to defend yourself. Like, you're going to fight.
He's really doing this as a service to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
he's like, fight club with my sister.
Let's do
after
it.
school today.
Like, who wants to come over? And then he would like put us each like in a corner of the room and he'd be like, okay, go. And we would fight. Like, and I got pretty good. He's like, man, you got some skills.
Nice, Gal.
Yeah, I know. And I never was in like in a real fight, but I felt like that was giving me the confidence because we did shit face to face instead of cowardly behind screens. And that's what we're exposing our kids to when they have a device in their hand all the time. It's really freaking scary.
It is scary.
I would way rather a real life bully than anybody behind a screen.
100%. 100%. And that's part of the backup of what I was saying, like to let your kids figure some shit out on their own. There may be a bully at school, but hey, maybe they're not getting bullied at school. It's after when they get home. So maybe you have to give them the tools to maybe go to school and stand up to that kid on his own, on their own.
Yeah.
Or at least have the courage to say something to somebody.
Right.
And know that because I went through this when I was at home, I know that I can talk to my mom when I get home or whatever that is. You know what I mean? I know I can tell my mom that this is happening, or I can tell my dad or grandma or whoever I'm in a safe space with, you know, but you have to be able to allow them the practice before it happens.
Right. I mean, so there's this side of needing to defend ourselves or figure out how we're going to show up. And then there's like when I'm looking at this swing of the authentic parenting that the millennials brought on, like you be your authentic self. And then the world is like, but let's introduce social media and see if you can still be authentic at all and have any freaking clue who you are or what you are. And that made sense with the anxious generation. I was just like, okay, that's what I'm going to learn. That's what I thought. Like, and I was like, I'm just going to but dive into each one of those lessons, and they all make so much sense of why we do want to at least consider pulling screens from our kids at an increased amount, which we can talk about more at a different time or maybe later. But what I didn't think that I was going to get is half of this book dives into the importance of unsupervised play. Just as you said before we started talking. And I hadn't even considered it, Megs. And even though we're out here and we let our kids run about, and I like to call them my free-range chickens. We got all these free-range chickens running around.
I love that.
I didn't really think about how these other kids are locked inside and the technology is stealing their childhood, and they're not getting any of those experiences. And then he talks about the exact same things that you've mentioned, that's how we develop our character. That's how we figure out who the hell we are, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what fits. And that's going to be what molds you into becoming who you're going to be. But instead, I don't know who I am because I'm too busy scrolling, looking at Susie's profile.
Yeah. And then also you don't know who you want to surround yourself with. If you don't know who you are, and that is such an important lesson to learn in life, is who you want in your circle. Because you don't have to let everybody in. And there's levels to circles too that you need to know. And that can't happen without a natural, feeling that out naturally. You know what I mean? You can't just let everybody in your circle because they're cool.
Yeah.
Or because they may be mean as hell to you, but you have to let them in your circle because they're the cool kids or whatever that is, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's a super, super duper important lesson to learn as well. And you can't do that when you're being supervised all the time. Let's just acknowledge how hard that is as a parent nowadays too, because it just seems like the world's a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah.
And so maybe do your best to figure out how to incorporate that into your life. Like you maybe can't just let your kids run around the front yard anymore. Like you can't let your gang of neighborhood kids go to the park on their own anymore. But why don't you invite the kids over to your house and they can all play in the backyard or in the basement even, and just let them do on their own.
Yeah. They had some really cool suggestions in here of how to encourage that unsupervised. And by unsupervised at this point, it's not like you're you're completely checked out, right? Like you're just not interfering. It's uninterfered parenting. But they talk about having, some schools now are having an extra hour where the kids can stay and there's an adult there who just watches but does not interfere. Fantastic. So they're letting the kids just go out and be kids, and there's no phones allowed. So if you're in these different programs, so schools are starting to encourage.
Recognize that that's needed. Huh?
Yeah,
and
bring things
awesome.
on. the other thing that they talk about is having, they talk about like the jungle gym structure and how like there are a lot of cool playgrounds now, but they're so freaking safe. Like you can't, most of them, it's like you're trapped in by all the different walls. You can't jump off the ledge and do all the different things. And there's less broken arms, which sounds like a good thing. But at the same time, people don't know how to take risks. They don't know, they're not encouraged to, and they don't know the level at which they can, which we have to learn how to appropriately take risks. So they have these they call,
especially for boys, I feel like they very physically need to learn those things in that way.
Yeah.
And I know girls do too. They do. But there's just a higher level of that physicality for a boy that they need to do. Yeah.
And they do jungle gyms that are, what do they call them? They're like free range jungle gyms, free something. Maybe not at all. But it's like stuff, like tires, shovels, tools.
We went to one here. Junkyard Social.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's like there's an old bus, and I went with my friend, and our kids were maybe a little too young to go there at that point. So, but yeah, it's because it was like, oh, that's rusty and metal. Like they're too little to get tetanus shots. Like,
right. But it's finding the balance, and I think one thing about us talking about being Xennials, and we got to be raised in that generation where we've got to have all the fun. But then also what was really cool for us is there's a lot of benefits to technology. There's a lot of cool things about social media. There's so many cool things about what the internet has brought us.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to be submerged into that until we were really, I think
we did
not like AOL, but like where you actually, still waiting. I'm going to go into a chat room and talk shit about soccer players. That's what
and then I'm going to marry one.
Ta-da! Learned what I liked and didn't like.
Yep. Because thinking back, I was like, okay, we did have computers in elementary school at some point, but it was like you went to computers
and you learned how to type.
You learned how to type on a green screen. And I know some people did the Oregon Trail. I remember, I've heard about that. We didn't at our school.
Okay.
We legit had a green screen.
Okay.
There might have been a game and it's not coming to me now, that we could play that it was part of that. But it was like a learning game. And it literally was a green screen. Like you guys, it's green. And then, and it's huge. Huge. No internet though.
Yeah.
There was no internet. When I started internet, I feel like I was a senior in high school when it was like a thing that people could start using the internet at school, but you had to go to the library, get on the internet, and it was dial-up.
Yeah.
Like it had to be, for people who don't know, it had to be plugged into the wall in a phone jack. Remember phones that you used to have to and wait for the dial tone? That was how we used the internet. And it took a good 15 minutes to actually get it going.
And then, it's like winding it up, and then you go. You get on the internet, you get your stuff.
Yeah, and then we did have chat rooms, so you would talk to people, and then it took 10 minutes for them to reply back.
It was great. It was great. And what was so cool about that is we got this little introduction and this taste of what was going to happen, what was going to come, but we didn't have to be negatively influenced and have that impact on our lives. And I am so grateful that social media didn't come out until I was through college. That would have sucked. I cannot imagine documenting my life for other people to see, which I do all the time now, guys, because I know myself, I know my person, I know my authenticity, and I know how I want to show up to the world and how I want to provide for the world.
Yeah, and you're in your 40s now. You were able to work through all of that.
A lot of stuff.
All the mistakes, all the dumb shit we did was not documented. So we weren't being continually judged or being put upon that's who you are. Because you did that thing.
Yeah, and I got some good feedback, even though that might have been the best move, but now I have this positive reinforcement for maybe a negative behavior where we just did the shit we did because we had fun doing it, and then we just cleaned up our messes and moved on.
Yep.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was so great.
It was so great. I was thinking that same thing, dude, seriously. Cheers. Gosh, because I was thinking that same thing where it's man, if any of that person back then was put out onto the internet, and that's what we would have been doing because that's what was happening.
Right.
And even sometimes still, I had Facebook in my 20s and I go back and I see something, I'm like, what a dumb thing to say.
Let's go ahead and hide that.
How
post.
embarrassing.
Hide that
Gosh,
post.
why did I put that up? So, and that was nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were really, really blessed to just do those things and be those people.
Yeah. So we have take them to the creek to go crawdad hunting. Find the times where you can let the kids play and be. They might push a little. They might get a little aggressive and stop interfering. Let them be them unless somebody's getting hurt. Right?
Unless you. I mean,
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And it's a good practice for both of you because it is our, I think, especially nowadays, and because, you're also having to parent alongside other parents, and maybe they're not on that same page that you are. So you see that they want you. They're like, why aren't you getting your kid? You can just have a conversation with the other parent and say, this is what I'm really trying to, show them and instill this part of character building for you. If that's a problem, please let me know. That's no problem. We can figure that out. We'll do something that's not so aggressive. And then you find your people, your parent tribe, your mom ladies that you love, that you can say, let's do this together because you need those people too.
I feel like I'm like hardcore on my search. Like we found some of us, but this is currently what I'm seeking. So if you're out there, right, is to find other moms where it opens up that space for you to have the conversation with them where you can share, hey, this is how we play when we're here. We're going to let them go play and get messy and do all of the different things. And also we're not going to bring phones around the house with us. Like we just don't have that here. They might be watching a movie together at the end of the day, but
they're all together sitting on the couch.
Yeah. And still having that interaction time. So finding that, and something else that's been hard for me, Meg, is so now Quincy's 6, so he's in kindergarten and he started doing play dates, and which is so cool. But then he comes home, it's like, Mom, they were just on their tablet the whole time. And so now I don't know what he's being exposed to. I don't know what bullies or potential cyber
weird
nasties
videos,
they're being confronted to. Like even on Roblox, I've heard, which is like a big popular game, but there's a lot of different trolls that are on there, and that's where you should be helicopter parenting. Let them go outside and fall in the mud, but stop. Like you got to watch when they're online. Or I just took my kids' stuff away. I just took their tablets away. So
Great.
whatever works for you. And then you can try to build communities and relationships with people who want to do the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's yep.
And start here. Like we always say, start here. Comment. Say, hey, I'm looking for some people that are into this.
Yeah.
That I want to meet up with. And, find some ladies who are ready to do that because it's so important. I mean, I can just see, let me tell you, my son is 3. He just turned 3. So we're still in the beginning stages. So I'm really lucky that I've been this age, went through this thing with me, finding my people that I can do this with at such a young age. But, you think all they want to do is be on the phone or watch TV or whatever. And he does have those moments already at 3 years old. He opens his eyes after his nap and he's like, Mama, I want to show in a milk.
Yeah.
I want to show in a milk. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You do.
Yeah.
But the second he opens his eyes this morning, he's like, Mama, I want to watch a show. And I was like, we're going to go to Witten's house. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And he gets out of bed. This is his jam over here. He's so stoked to come over and play outside and be a kid and get his own water and make a mess of Callie's house.
Yes. And then that's the one other thing, you have to let him mess up and teach him how to clean up, teach him that accidents happen. That's okay. And we clean up our messes. There's so much cool stuff our babies get to do.
I know, it's really cool.
Oh my gosh. So for you guys, if you're in a space where you're like, maybe I want to just review my parenting a little bit and make sure that I'm understanding at least the ramifications of not exposing them to that 1990s lifestyle.
I know. That's awesome.
Then I recommend grab the book. He's going to say it way better than we have, but try to find your mom tribe.
Try to find your mom tribe. Yep. Because there's people out there that want this too.
Yep.
And sometimes you just don't know where to start. So find them, start there, and allow space for them and each other and your kids to do all those things together. Mm-hmm. And just know that you're not always going to do it perfect. And maybe somebody does get punched in the face and you're just like, okay, now we can talk about it.
Yeah, this is cool. We learned something.
Sorry.
Learned something together.
Yeah. And that's good. But It's an important thing to do. Let me just say that also, just because it's our generation, we had the best music too.
This is true. I asked in my Jerry group, I was like, you guys, like, what's some of your favorite things about being an old mom? And or how do you know? They're talking about how do you know that you're an old mom? And one of the person's like, my kids sing Salt and Pepper. I'm like, yes,
Love it. Love it.
Oh, we are lucky.
We are lucky.
Blessed son of a bee stings.
I know.
Well, twang to twang twang. We did our barn episode.
We sure did, Cal. We sure
did.
got her done today in the barn.
We did, and it is 52 degrees in here. Woo! Yeah.
Crisp.
Keeping it fresh.
Crisp out
Crisp
today.
and fresh. Guys, we love you so much. And make sure you comment. If you can, we realize now you can't comment on half of the apps. Sorry. Maybe we'll make a group. Maybe we should make a group where people.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's
because
do
we're
it.
old, and that's what we do.
Yeah, because that's what ask your kids. That's what old people do Facebook.
Old people do Facebook groups. So maybe we'll do that. By the time we post this, we might even have one linked to it, and maybe not. Just check it out. in
Yeah,
the
check it
links.
out. Yeah. Check it out. If it's there, great. If it's not, then go on Facebook and
Mature-ish. Mamas, you know our name by
Mature-ish
now,
mamas.
right? You
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
We love you guys so much.
Love you guys so much. We love your guts.
We love your guts. ILYG, newest branding. I love your guts.
In parentheses.
Parentheses right around the, or maybe no, here's right. That feels right.
That feels right.
Okay. Guys, we love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye for now. See you next Tuesday. Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how we impact more lives. All right, see you next time. Oh, here, let me just make sure that worked. It's 50. 50 degrees, right in the bar. Blah. Oh, yeah, we said that we were going to do that. Sorry. I got spit. A lot of Kleenex and a spitter over here. We both wear our sweats today because we thought, we're on a podcast. Who the fuck cares what we wear?